Hi everyone. As Ben mentioned, I am a sex and relationship coach, which is as awesome as it sounds. If a sex therapist helps people who are struggling to become well, I help people who are well to become amazing. And thank you. And so I want to begin, though, I can't resist the opportunity, since I am the first speaker, to do a little bit of grounding with y'all so that we can get the most out of our time together here tonight. Sound good? All right. So I'm going to ask everyone here to close your eyes. And just begin to take stock of what's going on in your body. Maybe intentionally, but slowly start to deepen your breath. And on your next breath, let's make it a big inhale through your nose and an exhale through your mouth with a little sigh. And let's do that again. And let's do it one more time. And now I want you to put one hand on your belly and one hand on your heart. And just begin to take this practice one step deeper. You're really checking in on what's going on for you. What's true for you right now in this moment? What sort of expectations do you have about this evening? If you haven't set an intention for what you're going to get out of our time together tonight, I'd invite you to take a moment and think about what your intention is right now. And if you don't have one, you can borrow mine, which is to be accepting of everything. Acceptance is the highest form of love. Judgment is the mechanics of non-acceptance. Take a deep breath. Feel under your hands right now and just ask if there's anything that you could be more accepting of. Any emotion that's coming up for you, pleasant or unpleasant. Could you take your self-acceptance a little bit deeper? Especially as we head into this Valentine's Day season, holiday, Hallmark card. Could you accept yourself and whatever's going on for you right now? And in doing so, show yourself some real unconditional love. Let's take one more deep breath in. Go ahead and feel that breath in your belly. Bring it all the way down. Sigh it out. One more with a lot of noise on the exhale. Yes! All right. Go ahead and open your eyes. I welcome you back into the room. How is everybody feeling now? 3 minutes and 40 seconds we did that. You can do that all day, every day. Awesome. All right. Thank you, everybody. Okay, so now we can start. My name is Caitlin V, and I want to do 2 things tonight. I told Ben about the first one. I haven't told him about the second one because I like surprises. The first thing I want to do, Ben asked me when he asked me to do this event to really talk about my own journey, because I was totally going to cop out. I was going to say, I'm going to do the 7 steps for having a great sex life, which I thought was decent. I think you all would like that. But it would be a very safe way for me to be up here in front of you, because I'd be like, it's about you, like your body, your creativity, you, nothing to do with me, not my sex life. And his text message back to me immediately was, yeah, as long as it's about your journey. Because that's true. Like, we don't learn that much. You can look up lists on BuzzFeed. I could just walk up here and recommend a bunch of books to you and podcasts and stuff like that. Or I could tell you something that's true for me, and you will remember that, and hopefully it will inspire you to do something, or at least like to feel more seen. Because I think the number one thing that I do in my line of work is help people to feel seen. Like, the number one question that I get is, am I normal? Is this normal? Is this thing I'm experiencing normal? And the answer, I can tell you unequivocally, is yes. It's absolutely normal. You are definitely not alone. In fact, the more alone you think you are, probably the less alone you actually are. Because we just don't talk about that stuff, right? Yeah. So my goal here for tonight is to make you feel seen, help you to feel a little bit inspired, and to get like the tiniest bit vulnerable with you. Okay. That's step one. And then step two is I want to give you an opportunity to ask some questions. I know there's going to be questions at the end here tonight, but I'm a teacher at heart, and I do really well with questions. And you have a sex coach with you, and you have her undivided attention. And how many of you had one of those this evening? Exactly. So I figured I'd give you an opportunity to ask some like general questions, and we can talk about like maybe whatever's on your mind, perhaps Valentine's Day. I don't know. I'll flow with it. Okay, so a little bit about me, and the thing that I want to focus on the most for this is the idea of living for yourself. So Ben's brand is to live for yourself. And let me tell you, the only way that I became a sex coach is by living for myself. And my journey into this started as a really sex-obsessed and totally nerdy kid, like a 14-year-old, okay? I knew from that age, I was one of those kids that just has the idea that they're like, this is what I'm gonna do with my life. And that thing was sex something for me. And I really think if you're sitting there right now and you're going like, yeah, that's great, Caitlin, I didn't know what I was gonna do when I was 14, I'm still trying to figure that shit out. That's okay, I believe you, kind of, but really I think we all have an intuitive sense of what it is that we're drawn to do, whether it's ballerina or astronaut or everything and anything in between. And I just had the dumb luck of really hearing that really loudly and not turning it down and not shutting it off and just being like, well, okay. I asked my parents to drop me off at the bookstore, and I'd sit in like the erotic section and read like the science books about sex. Like I was like, this is my thing, I want to do this. When Facebook came out, I put sexologist as my major, because you had to do that at the time. Just millennials, younger people, you had to have a major. Not anymore. I put sexologist as my major. And the reason I share this with you right now is because that, even like looking back on it, that 17-year-old version of me, that was fucking ballsy. Like, whatever it is that you're interested in, whatever it is that that you're here to give to the world, I guarantee that there's some sort of fear and some sort of shame around it. And sex is a great example of something where there's a lot of fear and a lot of shame around it, right? So if I can do that as a scared 16-year-old who go to Facebook for the first time, I hope that it encourages you to go ahead and start calling out whatever it is that you want to do. Whatever it is, like, I am this thing, I study this thing, I love this thing. So I put sexologist on there, but then I like kind of shied away, and I went to a liberal arts school where I became a conflict studies major, which is very liberal arts. There were three of us graduated with a degree in conflict studies. Really useful. And I went to work at a call center, like most sex coaches. No, just kidding. I went to make money, and I was in a job that I hated, that was making me a ton of money, and I was spending all of it on shoes and drugs because I was 21 when I graduated from college. I really thought I had a drug problem. I just lived in Indiana. It turns out that was the problem. Oh, you like that? Okay, yeah. All right, good. As soon as I got out of there, I was like, oh, it wasn't drugs. It was cornfields. Anyway, and it wasn't until I totally hit a wall there that I was like, I have to be really honest about what it is that I want to do. Like, I can't pretend that sex is not my career. But I was so afraid of what that would mean. I was afraid of being labeled slut. I was afraid of I wasn't going to make money. And that was the very first fear that I really had to overcome, was that you can't make money doing what you love. How many of you have ever had that fear? Yeah, look around, like everyone here at one point or another. And how many of us still have that fear? I do make money doing what I love, and I'm like, when are they going to catch up to that I love this? And then they take it away from me, because how could you have a job that you loved? Anyways, fast forward to me getting asked to, or I got a master's degree in public health because it was very sciencey, super sciencey. Public health, very safe way to study sex. STDs, pregnancy rates, postpartum depression rates in Texas, like you name it, I did that. Very safe. And I was at my PhD, and I was fucking miserable. And this is when I had to learn the second lesson of my life, and the second fear that I overcame, the second time that I chose to live for myself. I decided that despite not having any certifications, not having any sort of education background outside of just teaching, that I was gonna drop all of that, drop the doctor title, drop the bullshit and the significance that was gonna come with being Dr. Neal, which still sounds really seductive to me, but I'm okay with that. And I was going to do what I love one-on-one, which is help people to have a better sex life. And that was 3 years ago, almost to the day. And now I spend every day, all day, living for myself, doing exactly what I love, and helping people to have better sex. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so that was it about my journey. And the reason I shared that all with you and not a bunch of like smutty secrets is that you can learn smutty secrets. What I want to share with you is that you actually do have the opportunity to live for yourself. And that if you can do what I did, which is stop bullshitting yourself and telling yourself a bunch of lies that you made up to keep you safe and keep you small, that you can go out there and you can do the thing. And even if that thing is sex, even if that thing is something that other people judge you for and call you names for and write nasty comments in your YouTube videos, you can do that thing. And I implore you to do it, because you will never be happier, you will never be more successful than if you make the decision to live for yourself. Okay. Let's take a breath. Who wants the sex tips? Raise your hand if you want the 7 secrets to an amazing sex life. No? Okay, it's all right, fine, I'll sit down. No one? No one? Okay, fine. Okay, a couple, just because you asked for it. Okay, so these are the things that I have learned through my actual life on how to create an amazing sex life. Number 1, sex begins in the body. If you are not right with your body, you cannot be right with your sex life. I don't care if you're having sex with yourself or with other people. Sex begins in the body. We all breathed together. Remember, that was awesome? That was like a practice of getting into our body. Imagine if you did that the next time you were gonna have sex with someone. You just said, like, hang on a second, let's just breathe together here. I guarantee orgasm, stamina, whatever it is that you're looking for, presence, mindfulness, starts right here in this body. Number 2, sex requires creativity. Sex is literally creation, right? That's how most of us came into the world. We were created through an act of sex. And sex is like probably the most exciting space, I think, for us to be creative within. We stifle ourselves a lot when it comes to sex, right? We think like this is how we do it, and then this, and then like step 3, and then done. Sex is an opportunity for you to be as creative as you could possibly get. I invite you to look at objects around your house, in your kitchen, things that are mundane. I invite you to go online to look up a yes, no, maybe list. That's a great resource of ideas that you can use, bring into the bedroom with you. And again, if you're single, this still applies to you. Don't think that I'm not talking to you single people. You get to be creative. You get to actually probably be the most creative, because there's no one there to tell you that you can't be creative. And listen, if you feel like your creativity is stifled in sex, don't bring it out of the bedroom. Go make something that is creative. Paint a picture, draw, sketch, doodle, get colorful markers and take colorful notes at work. Okay, when you start to paint with all the colors of the rainbow in the rest of your life, you will start to paint with all the colors of the rainbow in your bedroom. Because I guarantee how you do one thing is how you do everything. That's true for me anyways. Okay, number 3, sex requires a strong no. Sex requires a no. Listen, the body, like the lower parts of the body are like a big yes. Things feel good. They want to please other people. They enjoy when other people give them approval and validation. And that is all well and good, but that is also a recipe for hurt unless you have a really strong no. Some of the best and most amazing sexual experiences I have ever had were as a result of me saying, no, that doesn't actually work for me, but let me tell you what does. If you don't feel that you have a strong no, you cannot feel safe having sex with another person. This is a lesson that it took me a long time to learn. I think I'm still learning it. Because I think a lot of us have a tendency to want to be great. We want to be good lovers. There's no roadmap available to us on how to do that. And sometimes when that no comes up, we sort of feel like, well, I don't know, but they like it, or they want to make them happy to. Trust me, learn from my mistakes. Say no. Say no. And say it with context, and say it with an explanation, say it with an alternative, but say no, and say it often, and say it strongly, and just, you don't have to go back, and you don't have to explain yourself either. Whew, heavy. Okay, number 4. 5? 4? 4, 1, 4. Number 4 is sex requires heart. I don't care if you're having sex with someone who you know, or who you met 6 minutes ago, or who you met 60 years ago. It requires heart. It requires love. And first of all, before it ever requires that for another person, it requires it for yourself. I remember the day I realized I loved myself was the same day I realized I had quit smoking cigarettes. Realized I had quit smoking cigarettes because I wasn't trying to quit smoking cigarettes. I just woke up one day and went, I haven't had a cigarette in like 7 days. The fuck? Why? And I sat with it for a minute and I thought, oh, I'm really starting to love me. And if you smoke cigarettes, that doesn't necessarily mean you don't love yourself. That's not what I'm suggesting. That was my journey. But the more that you love you, the more that you can make better decisions, the more that you can choose better lovers, the more that you can love those lovers. So sex requires heart, because if you're going to share your body, mind, and soul with another person, you better love that body, mind, and soul. It makes it a lot easier to love theirs. Next, sex requires communication. This is cliche for a reason. That's the reason everybody says it, because it's fucking true. Sex does require communication. It requires communication with your body language. It requires communication with your words. And the more you communicate, the better you will be. You don't ever show up at the gym and like try to bench, or let's see, this is a deadlift. Try to deadlift 350 pounds and then go, it didn't work. I quit. You don't go, I should already be strong. I'm 30 years old, I should already be strong. No, you get that you need to go to the gym, you need to practice, you need to be sore, you need to feel things in order to make progress on this. And sex, relationships, communication, they're no different. You can't just show up and expect that you're gonna get it. Like, come on, be gentle on yourself. Like, it's okay to work, it's okay to practice, it's okay to put in a couple hours every week, read books, listen to podcasts, like seek help, seek coaches, seek therapists, because this is a practice, it is a skill. It's not something that we are innately born with, no matter what the media tells you. Sex requires insight, sex requires intuition, sex requires the ability to see things, not with your eyes, but with your being. It requires time and patience and silence and solitude, because you have to be really crystal clear on what it is that works for you, what you see for your future. How you communicate on a level with yourself that is beyond the written word, that is beyond the actual visual. One of the practices that I really truly embrace is I try not to trust my eyes quite so much. You know, when you go to the grocery store and you like look at the produce and you're like, this one is beautiful. Oh, we have imperfect produce in the house. Yes, thank you, you get me. You look at the produce, you're like, I will choose this one because it looks good. When does that ever work for anything? You have 5 senses. These lie to you. You see what you want to see. Let me tell you what, you smell what actually exists, okay? Just nose is not gonna lie to you. You're not, no, that smells like shit. Okay, yeah, you get that. But eyes lie to you all the time. So use your senses, not just your eyes. Again, that sex begins in the body. The senses exist in the body. And then finally, and this is the one that it took me the longest to get, and I'm gonna leave it with you tonight because this is my invitation for you. Maybe you're already there, maybe you're not like me. Listen, there's a reason those who can't teach, right? Those who struggle teach others, and that's how I ended up where I am now, is that I struggled. Sex requires faith. It can be a relationship that brings you into a relationship with a higher power. I don't care what that necessarily is for you, how you define that. For me, sex, relationships, sharing my body and my spirit with another person is one of the ways that I feel connected to the entire world, the entire galaxy, the universe, to God, to spirit. Like having an amazing sexual connection. I mean, who here hasn't, well, don't raise your hands, or do raise your hands, but more like come talk to me after the show. If you've never seen God through an orgasm, come talk to me through the show, because it's possible. And if you don't feel connected to something bigger than yourself in that moment, that's what I want for you. That's what I want for everyone here. That's what I want for everyone that I work with. I want their sex life to be so amazing that it actually brings them up to a plane higher than themselves and allows them to get out of just their physical body, just their mental being, just their emotional life, and actually feel connected to something much bigger than themselves. And those are the 7 components to having a great sex life. Thank you.